Wesker. I'm coming.
You know, my time is a very valuable thing. Luring unsuspecting hikers into my cave with sounds of their dead loved ones can be very, very time consuming. You see, similar to a woods-dwelling skinwalker, rake, wendigo, or any other cryptid of Native American origin, I am desperate, starving, malnourished if you will, and severely underweight. I will take whatever scraps I come across. I will resort to doing things no sane person would ever do. So when Capcom puts out another multiplayer Resident Evil game that appeases literally nobody, I have to play it and make a video on it, because nothing else really gets you views on this platform quite like good old-fashioned negativity does. Now I've sunk quite a few hours into this game and I've experienced so much yet so little at the same time. You'd be surprised how little content a game that was delayed almost a whole year actually has. This intro has probably gone on longer than my actual review of the game, and it is exceptionally longer than you probably last in bed.
I'm coming.
So a little while ago, I made a video called Resident Evil Umbrella Corps is actually not that bad. And why did I say that? Why did I think this? Well, because if you take it for what it is, it's a stupid little spin-off title that actually had a decent amount of content in it. It had a few different game modes, it had a super extensive character customization, and a wide variety of maps from the Resident Evil franchise. And as someone that likes competitive shooters and Call of Duty and all that stuff, I found it to be a quite enjoyable little stupid spin-off because it didn't affect any of the main games, so it was fun for what it was. Our reverse, on the other hand, is quite the contrary. Now, it appears we are in the same boat again as we were a few years ago with Resident Evil Umbrella Corps and Resident Evil Resistance. Now is Resident Evil RE-verse, Capcom's latest attempt to, for some reason, make a multiplayer Resident Evil shooter. So, everyone is critiquing this game. I am not the first person to do it, nor will I probably be the last person to do it. The reason I even put off making this video was because I don't like making videos that are just going to regurgitate what everybody else says, and I guarantee you most of what I say is already going to be shared by a lot of other people, but there are also a plethora of other reasons I feel like not a lot of people are talking about with this game. So, for starters, there is a single game mode in this entire game, standard match. Passcode match is literally the same thing, only private. It's pretty simple. It's a free-for-all match where you select one of the many characters from the franchise, and the lineup is pretty good actually. You have Leon, Claire, Ada, Jill, Chris, and his entire wolf pack from Resident Evil 8, and of course, how can we forget Hunk? They'll have their own guns and special moves that are very crucial in order to win matches, and most of the fights you'll get into in this game. If you try not using any of these things, you will, more than likely, die even more than you probably will if you do use them. And let's just get into the positives first. Now, normally in these types of videos, I would go and meticulously break down each characteristic of each special move and showcase how uniquely different they are for each character. If I really thought it impacted the gameplay and took more brain power than just tapping into my primal urges and just spamming them both at the same time to win. It doesn't matter. None of it does. The only thing that does matter is whoever your favorite waifu or husbando is, getting the skin that turns you on the most and proceeding to button mash until you win and flex on people who will probably never be playing this game ever again. RE-verse is a true beacon of equality, as in all the characters are equally broken with not much thought put into them, so to keep the theme consistent with the tone of the game, I will also not be putting much thought into this either. Moving on. So the controls are really tight, there's a dodge mechanic, feels super smooth, the gameplay is very nice, and if anything, this game actually plays better than Umbrella Corps and also Resident Evil Resistance. The gameplay itself is very smooth. In a standard match, the only match, like I said, it's a free-for-all mode. The goal is just to get as many kills as you can to win. You lose points if you die, but if you die, you become a creature, which is actually pretty dope. Since launch, they added some more characters and creatures. Starting from least powerful to most powerful, you have the Fat Molded, the Lycan, the Hunter Y, Jack Baker, Nemesis, then finally, the Super Tyrant, aka Mr. X's final form. You get more points for kills as humans than a creature, and it's for pretty obvious reasons. because don't let my gameplay fool you, this game is very broken. Playing as the creatures is kinda OP since most of it just consists of you spamming and stun locking people, the human opponents that is. And sometimes the kill time can just feel super inconsistent, and sometimes you can go from you being able to tank like a dozen hits and being fine to literally getting one tapped. So you will die in this game a lot, especially because the tutorial is not very extensive, and neither is the playground mode, which I'll get into in a bit. To become the more powerful creatures, you have to pick up these purple biohazard vials, but you need to be careful because some of them are trapped and they just explode and damage you. There's also other pickups in the map, such as explosive weapons, health pickups, which is refreshing to see in a multiplayer shooter, to be honest, because, you know, every game just has fucking regenerating health now, so I think that's kind of dope that they went back to the arena-style shooter gameplay for some fucking reason in a Resident Evil game, but whatever. Now, overall, I do like this concept of game a lot. I think if there were a lot of things fixed with it, it would be awesome. Like, I'm going to keep reiterating this point. This game has potential. There are people that play it. It has a player base. It is still active even after launch, even after people constantly shitting on it. This is a fun concept for a Resident Evil spin-off game, but there are major issues here. Like I said, there's only one match, the standard match, and it only lasts 5 minutes, and there's only 3 maps. So as you can imagine, this gets pretty tiring after just an hour of playing. But hey, at least it's crossplay. Now, apart from the basic cosmetics, it doesn't appear that they have any plans to add any more actual content into the game. Every single update that comes out has really just been cosmetics. They added Chris's team from Resident Evil 8. That's really about it. The customization, when it's not locked behind a paywall, is actually pretty good. And you know what? I'll admit, I did contribute to the unfortunate business practices of microtransactions. I had an extra $1 in my fucking PlayStation account and I bought the Resident Evil 6 Leon outfit. Sue me. But you know what? Credit where it's due. At least in Umbrella Corps, all of the customization was free and way more extensive. There's also, like I said before, there's a playground mode. What is a playground mode? You can test out the character, whichever one you want. You can get comfortable playing as them. So we'll go into Leon for a bit. He has 2 special moves, as all the other characters do. Leon has dual pistols, and then the other is his roundhouse kick from 4. The dual pistols obviously do a fuck ton of damage, likewise with the kick, and they have to recharge after you use them, because you will more than likely get a kill. I don't know, it's kind of inconsistent in this game. There's very bad balancing issues, but we'll get into that later. There's not too many options in playground mode, to be honest, just enough that you can learn the basics. There's no AI adjustments, there's no health adjusters for the enemy AI. There's just one that kind of runs around in circles, and then the others just stand still, and if you hit them, they die instantly. I don't really understand how this is supposed to get you prepped for an actual game, but hey, whatever. It's clear there was no effort put into this game whatsoever, even after a year of being delayed, which I'll get into and more in a bit as well. Now, there are some unlockables, actual unlockables that you don't need to pay for. These are wallpapers that also function as the home screen. They're actually pretty awesome. I like these a lot. These are really cool and unique. The mashups are really cool, and they make great wallpapers without a doubt. I think this was kind of dope, and it looks like more effort went into these than the actual fucking game. But yeah, speaking of the actual whole game, that's fucking it. That's all there is in this game. I just went over the entire game, and we're what, 7 minutes into this video? Yeah, that's the entire fucking game. And like I said, for a game that has so much potential, it's so sad to see that just absolutely no effort was put into it. This game, you guys have to realize, was not only free with Resident Evil 8, but was also delayed almost an entire year, and there's still nothing in the fucking game. What did they need a year to do? How broken was this game before? Because I didn't play the beta. I have absolutely no idea. Was the beta even worse than the actual game was? How badly broken was this game that it took them a year for it to come out, and there's still just nothing in it? And it sucks because, like I said, you have a really cool concept, all the Resident Evil characters come back in a free-for-all style game mode. You know what? One game mode is it's not really great. Even, like I said, even Umbrella Corps had multiple game modes. It had like at least 10 maps, 10 good maps for sure. And I don't know, man. I just don't understand it. It's a cool concept, and maybe Capcom didn't give the development team the budget they needed for it. That's very well possible. But I don't know. I just think it's kind of a bummer. But even more of a bummer is that I don't understand why Capcom keeps trying to make these multiplayer shooters that obviously don't interest a majority of the fan base, or any fan base for that matter. ORC, Umbrella Corps, Resistance, and this now are all just super, super unpolished. Every single time they put out one of these games, they're the most broken, unpolished games ever. I absolutely hated ORC when it came out, even though I know it's gotten a cult following now. ORC is still garbage. Most of the levels are awful. You can run through each level and not hit a single thing or get attacked by anything. It is the ugliest game I have ever seen, which is no excuse because it came out after Resident Evil 5, and Resident Evil 5 is arguably one of the best looking games in the entire series. There is no excuse why ORC should look this awful. There is no reason why any of these games should look this awful. They are being put out by a AAA developer, and they are charging money for this shit. It is just insane. None of these games have left any sort of lasting impact on anyone that's played them. And what I just don't understand is that Capcom does know how to make a Resident Evil multiplayer game that people actually enjoy. Resident Evil 5 is still by far one of the single best co-op experiences in the fucking game. Literally, Resident Evil 5 is awesome. Even people that don't even like Resident Evil 5 admit the co-op in it is awesome.
Shelby, look behind you.
Where did he come from? God
Let's go back to the
damn!
PS2, the Outbreak games, which were unfortunately never able to live up to their full potential due to online gaming being such a relatively new concept on consoles at the time. And that was a totally awesome concept too. A bunch of people in a classic Resident Evil setting with the fixed cameras and the survival aspects and whatnot, all struggling to get their way out of Raccoon City by solving the same puzzles you would in the earlier games in single player, just with a bunch of other friends. It was an awesome concept that was limited by the tech at the time. They should totally give that another shot, and I'm gonna join the majority on this one, and I say that Outbreak definitely deserves more love, whether it be a third game, a remake, or both. I think it should really come back, and if Capcom really keeps insisting on wanting to get into the multiplayer market with the Resident Evil franchise, that's the only way I can ever conceive them doing it. Or an asymmetrical horror game like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th. And they already did a collaboration with Dead by Daylight, so I assume Capcom has no intentions of making their own asymmetrical game. So, no, actually, when I went to get more footage for this game and I played it a lot more, my opinions on it did kind of change towards the end of making this video. And I had a lot of fun with it. Honestly, it is a very, very fun game, especially just being a stupid little spin-off that did come free with Resident Evil 8. But I still think the lack of content and the delay is really, really no excuse. I think if they put more content into the game and just kind of give it a little more of a personal touch, I feel like it could be really, really good. And like I said, it has a lot of potential. The gameplay is super smooth. Getting kills is super fun. It's a really dynamic game concept, and I really hope that it doesn't die like Umbrella Corps and RORC and all the other Resident Evil multiplayer shooters did, because it's actually pretty fun. Yeah, anyways, that's really it. I have absolutely nothing else to say about this game because there is nothing to say about it. That's literally, that's it. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Got my little rant out. If you like videos like this, I do a lot of tips, tricks, reviews on all the Resident Evil games and games alike. So don't think I just hone in on Resident Evil all the time. If you want to find some other horror games that are like Resident Evil, this is a good channel to check out. So thank you guys for watching. Hope have a very, very good day. Bye-bye.